What is wrong with this team? Everything. I don't know what is wrong. Like it's just never easy, is it?
The drama in the Fever front office has reached a new level of chaos, and Caitlin Clark's career could be seriously impacted by this mess. This isn't just a small feud, it could completely change the way the league treats its best player. How do you feel about the suits upstairs controlling how coaches handle generational players? Lin Dunn didn't just throw Stephanie White under the bus, she launched that thing at full speed with zero brakes, and Indiana Fever fans are completely spiraling. Coach Stephanie White should be sacked, in your opinion, or should she be given more time? Tell us in the comments section below.
Say it. Fire Stephanie White. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Let's not sugarcoat this circus. I'm here to analyze every crazy detail of this full-fledged soap opera that is taking place in Indianapolis. Lin Dunn went into full-on social media rage, and when seasoned executives begin publicly expressing their grievances like this, it's not just smoke, there is a 5-alarm fire inside the company.
Like Lin Dunn posting, and this is again the former like GM of the Fever, who's now something to do with the Fever. I don't know what her role is. She goes, don't expect the players to do it if you don't.
Let's take a moment to reflect on how this season was intended to unfold. The Indiana Fever entered the season as though they were assembling a formidable squad with of astute veterans and postseason resumes. Howard, Natasha Cunningham, Sophie Sidney Colson, like they were putting together the Avengers on paper, a dream squad. They began shopping for battle-tested leaders, but in practice, the process has been messier than a toddler finger-painting session. However, this is where things really go wrong. It's not just about the L's piling up in the standings, the real failure is the way Caitlin Clark is being handled. The league has never seen an offensive player as explosive as Caitlin Clark, who not only broke records but also the internet. So what does Stephanie White do? She takes the ball away from her and forces her into a lifeless motion offense that is putting half of the fan base to sleep.
I mean, this offense looked awful, and Sidney Colson, my God, is terrible running point guard on this team. Terrible.
It's a system meant for high school scrimmages, not elite athletes, and when you have someone like Clark, that kind of offense isn't just a misfire, it's borderline sabotage. For those of you fortunate enough to be unaware of what this motion offense looks like, picture a group of players playing hot potato repeatedly in the hopes that something will magically open up. That's all.
They had 0 fast break points. 0 fast break points on the game. 0. 0 fast break points. I don't care what this score ends up.
Look at what Clark did at Iowa. She was the offense, ran a free-flowing system, called the shots, and lit up the scoreboards. Just last week, in a victory over the Liberty, she scored 54 points with buckets and dimes. That's what happens when you let her run the show, but White seems allergic to giving her the keys, preferring to force her into a system that eliminates everything unique about her play. Next followed the rise of social media. After being awkwardly forced into a vague senior advisor role after serving as the Fever's general manager, Lin Dunn decided she had had enough and posted a very pointed statement online about not expecting players to perform things they don't drill in practice. It may seem innocuous, but let's face it, it was dripping with criticism, and you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out who that was directed at.
Stephanie White is getting destroyed today. Ken Swift posted this, a picture of what's supposed to be Christy's side.
And it wasn't just what she said, it was also what she was reacting to. This happened immediately after another heartbreaking defeat in which the players appeared disoriented, the offense looked completely hopeless, Clark looked irate, and the fans were on the verge of hurling pitchforks. Dunn didn't just throw shade, she essentially printed out a playbook detailing every issue with White's coaching and posted it online, telling the fans are turning on Stephanie White and fast. These aren't casuals tuning in once a week, these are ride-or-die Fever supporters who've stuck with the team through thick and mostly thin. The switch being flipped thus early in the season is not a warning sign, rather, it is a neon billboard that is yelling, "We've seen enough."
Like, they were embarrassingly bad without Caitlin Clark. They were just embarrassingly bad. And I mean this. A good coach will figure something out. A good coach will figure something out. Does this team play defense? No. No. I mean this. This team doesn't play defense. They've just gotten lucky. Teams miss shots. They've gotten lucky. Teams miss shots. They don't play defense. They still don't play defense. I know they held the Mystics to 83 points. This was a Mystics team who were not shooting well. They don't play defense. They don't defensive rebound. They don't put in any effort. And that's on coach. That is on the coach.
What is even more frustrating is that the entire situation could have been prevented. Months ago, people warned that it was a terrible idea to take someone as creative and free-spirited as Clark and put her in a strict system like motion offense. They pleaded with the staff to form a team around her, but White obviously believed she knew better, and the outcomes now speak for themselves. And now for the part that will really blow your mind. She was fined for publicly criticizing the referees, but perhaps she should focus more on her own playbook than the officiating, because this team isn't losing because of a few missed calls, but rather because they are actively wasting their once-in-a-generation talent. Let's talk about data for a moment when Clark is on the court. When she is off, Indiana's offensive rating is 107.5, which is a 25-point swing. This is not a slight decline, rather, it is a total offensive collapse.
I'm sorry. There is no way you can have 0 fast break points a team unless you are actively trying to not run. Unless you are trying to not run. You cannot have 0 fast break points as a team. Someone just said it, no defense, no offense, no fight. Outside of Lexi Hull and Aaliyah, or not even, I can't even blame Aaliyah Boston. She didn't touch.
This so-called motion offense, which is meant to encourage rhythm and flow reactions, actually stifles playmakers and stops any momentum, especially when someone like Clark sees the floor in 4K before anybody else blinks. You wouldn't tell Steph Curry to only shoot layups because you want her to improvise, sling passes, and create magic, but instead they have her standing around passing sideways. Why is Clark being boxed in? And let's not even discuss Caitlin's hand strategy. The woman is already a living legend who led Iowa to back-to-back championship games, broke every scoring record imaginable, made the WNBA a must-watch show, and redefined the rookie ceiling by making the first-team All-WNBA player in year 1. Don't read her in, you unleash her.
But the Fever got rid of her, and the Fever got rid of her coach. They got rid of her, and they got rid of her coach. They got rid of exactly what she wanted to do. And you know what? I hate saying this. Lin Dunn was probably right when she said it should be a 5-year plan to improve. That the plan to improve should be a 5-year thing.
The last blow when someone with that resume starts raising eyebrows, you can be sure there's fire where the smoke is. If that wasn't enough to make you wonder about White's strategy, consider the fact that Lin Dunn isn't just anyone raising the alarm. She was the mastermind behind the Fever's only championship run and was coaching when Indiana won the entire thing in 2012. Just take a look around the league and see New York with Sabrina or Vegas with Asia Wilson. Instead of trying to push their stars into obscurity, those teams embrace their abilities, highlight their strengths, and build around them.
I actually think that she was right in saying that. She was 100% right, and they fired her to quick fix it. Which is, a little bit disappointing. It is.
Beyond Caitlin Clark's personal ambition, the WNBA landscape is stacked. The Liberty are playing elite offense, the Lins are still a threat, and title-tested teams like Las Vegas and Phoenix are putting it all together. The Fever started the season with championship aspirations plastered across their schedules, and Caitlin Clark was very clear before tip-off that their goal was to bring home a title. But let's face it, how are you supposed to chase a ring if you refuse to unleash your best weapon? It would be like entering the Indy 500 only to set a speed limit at 60 mph. Secure. Yes, some teams can succeed with a motion-based strategy, but this roster isn't made for anonymity. Rather, it's built around a generational talent who can change the course of a game with a deft pass or a flash of offensive genius. With someone like Caitlin, you don't force her into a system, Instead, you build the entire offense around her skills. This isn't simply XS and OS, it's a philosophical divide. Do you cling to the sidelines and force your superstar to follow formulaic patterns, or do you allow her to drive traffic and work magic? Adjust to your skill level or anticipate mediocre outcomes. That is the query that all prosperous businesses in America must answer. As we watch everything play out, it seems like a slow-motion train accident where we can see the derailment approaching but the brakes never engage. Although Lin's most recent social media post appeared innocuous, it revealed a much wider divide and a shattered vision between the front office and the sidelines. A disagreement on how to use Indiana's most valuable player ever. This is about who gets to design the playbook, not who oversees practice.
Fans are turning against Steph. I mean, I turned against Steph in game 1. Sorry, not even game 1, game 2. Game 2. I turned against Steph.
Stephanie White's recent history is what really sets this off. She brought the same motion offense from the Connecticut Sun, and while it did work, Caitlin Clark was not a part of that squad. Now, she's trying to implement a system that wasn't designed for Caitlin's exceptional playmaking. It's like a chef making ramen with Wagyu beef. You're wasting top talent on low-carbon stock noodles. Touches the ball, you distribute the blame. But basketball is a merit-based sport, so if your most talented player is on the court, feed her and move aside. Clark thrived at Iowa because the offense gave her room to breathe. Using her vision, IQ, and decision-making skills, she averaged 28 points and more than 8 assists per game. However, Indiana's current system treats her like a cog that moves screens backwards, waiting for fate to give her an open look. This makes Lin Dunn's criticism more painful.
I legitimately just cannot believe this is going on. Like, we're turning into the Chicago Sky. Why are we turning into the Chicago Sky? Like, we're turning into it's becoming dysfunctional. Like, you're now seeing all these memes with Christy Sides and Caitlin, how's Stephanie White's offense treating you? And I mean this when I say it, it's pretty damn bad. Pretty damn bad when it comes to Caitlin.
We've seen fleeting glimpses of true potential, such as that Liberty game where White finally freed Clark in the fourth and she exploded for 32 points, flipping the scoreboard. That's the kind of energy and effectiveness that comes when you let a star shine instead of dimming her light. Now, think about Clark's expected trajectory from Rookie of the Year to MVP contender instead. She's been caught trying to fit inside a rigid offense that doesn't fit her strengths, and it's affecting both her and the team. The offensive efficiency jump is frustrating to watch. The Dana Bonner scandal adds yet another awkward layer. She simply quit, not because of XS and OS, but because the system was unable to adapt. In a Clark-centric system, you lose Bonner, but Clark still maintains possession and generates offense. For example, losing a piece like Bonner leaves a gap wide enough to drive through. That's resilience. On a philosophical level, Lin's statement about drilling what you want is applicable when your coach implements a strict, closed system but your front office wants Clark to lead on a talent-based offense. You wind up in a tug-of-war, and you can only imagine who is dragged apart by the team. The injury sustained by Clark earlier this season wasn't merely a lack of attendance, it was a system stress test during those 5 games. The offensive rating for Indiana plummeted to 82.2. This motion setup depends on flawless timing, disciplined spacing, and superior basketball IQ from everyone. When you build that around a generational guard and then ask her to conform, there's only one outcome, so what will happen next? It's not because Clark is irreplaceably brilliant, but rather because the motion system requires everyone to be exactly in place. That fragility shows the concept was flawed from the beginning. A smart offense has built-in contingencies, not fail-safes that collapse without one superstar. The front office will intervene to change the direction before Stephanie White Swallow Pride rebuilds the playbook around Clark's visionary idea. When one of the world's top players wastes his prime years, other teams watch with curiosity, coaches planning, general managers taking notes, and if Indiana can't release Caitlin, someone else will undoubtedly do it. This isn't about contracts. Clark is safe in that area, but let's maintain this viewpoint because trust and respect are fragile. With Lin Dunn's warning reverberating throughout this franchise, it is on to Stephanie White and Indiana leadership to either make quick adjustments or risk wasting a once-in-a-generation talent. Clark is not a cog in a system, she is the engine. You don't create space for greatness, you build the highway. Because stagnation isn't neutral, rather, it's the enemy of greatness. The Fever are at a crossroads, and every late-night Twitter tirade, every motion play, and every disappointed statistic all lead to a decision that must be made: stick to pride or turn to practicality. With the spectators watching and the clock running out, do you believe Coach Stephanie White should be let go or should she be given more time? Please subscribe and turn on all notifications in the comments section below to ensure you don't miss anything. We'll see you in the following video after you click the one on the screen.